So how is CCC going to be different in a way from if we assume that MTC or members of the CEE are former members of the MTC? How are you going to depart, as it were, from the ethnopolitics as played out within the MTC in CCC?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question that I hope I will answer as quick as possible. Look, the Citizens Coalition for Change is a new political organization. We made this decision to create a new movement because we're conscious of the toxicity in politics in our country. That is the politics both in the ZANU-PF political party and of course in the movement for democratic change. And that toxicity was in and around questions of culture. How do we do things? How do we treat each other as comrades? So I will start to answer the question on heroes. To me and to us as the Citizens Coalition for Change, heroes are the citizens. Heroes are not individuals who are in the forefront of the struggle. Deliberately, because we have done this deliberately, because we know that we don't want to create and we in fact we don't want to be an asymmetrical reproduction of the very same sobriquet that we are fighting. So we don't want to be a replica of ZANU-PF. And the reason how movement become, how comrades really will become like ZANU-PF, it are two things that we have touched on. A culture of impunity and a creeping sense of entitlement. So two things were dominant in our politics for the past 40 years. A culture of impunity, that I can do things and no one can question me on the basis of my credentials. And these credentials are that either we founded a ZANU-PF or we went to the liberation struggle or it's on the basis that we formed the MDC in 99. So people don't want to then submit themselves to systems or to account. So impunity was a defining problem in the broad national politics in our country. Number two was a culture of entitlement, that we founded this, we started this. So we said, Zimbabweans, I was privileged to travel with President Chamisa across the breadth and length of this country in 2021. And the general consensus by ordinary people in this country, in ZANU, outside ZANU, in the streets, in rural areas, was that President Chamisa will have given you the mandate to form a new political organization. So that so there was a culture of entitlement, and that culture was obviously predominant in ZANU-PF. We went to war, the Muse, Robert, their friends died during the liberation struggle. And we realized that, look, when you are more victimized at a personal level, I'm beaten up, I'm jailed, I'm arrested, and my friends die, I became entitled. And those young people that are somewhere across the world studying, who are supposed to come back and rebuild this country after we usher in a democratic breakthrough, will not have a chance because we will tell them that, no, where were you? So we said, in terms of our method of struggle, let's push the envelope of peace so that we all don't become entitled, because we have lost nothing in this struggle. We have contributed to it, more important, like everyone else. Number two, as I've said, is to make sure that we put everyone in the same level. Let the movement be driven by citizens. And by the way, the decision to say, let's go for a movement and not a political party was an important strategic decision, because political parties are narrow. Political parties are internally focused. Those who are motivated by political parties want processes to be elected internally. They want structures. They want to know who does what. They don't focus on the objective. The objective is to make sure that we defeat the enemy and usher in change for the betterment of our people. But political parties want to focus on who becomes MP, who becomes councillor, who becomes provincial chair. So we said a movement is broad. A movement brings everyone together, whether these people are in the structures of a political party, whether they are not, whether they have a history in the politics, whether they don't have, whether these people go to Makandiwa or Magaya or Roman Catholic or Sabbath Day. These are citizens. brought together by the movement whose intention and objective is to bring change and transformation. That's why, against all the temptations and the difficulty, I'll say this, that for the reformer, who in this case for me is President Chamisa, faces a fundamental difficulty that on one hand there's going to be those who resist that kind of radical change, but on the other hand there's lukewarm support from those who intend to benefit from such radical change and transformation. So it's important, but is history being made? We must build a movement which is safe for every Zimbabwean. A movement where everyone can say, this is my movement. I own this movement. I drive this movement. Decisions are made by us, for us, by us. So that's the kind of ideological shift that we have made, informed by historical engagement with the opposition movement and direct engagement with government. So that's why we've said we don't take the route that is seemingly an easier route, which is the route of a violent revolution. We said we go the non-violent way so that we build a legacy of rebuilding our country and don't have people that are entitled. Everyone right now, those who have attended the Twitter space, have the right to claim in a new Zimbabwe that we're part and parcel of the victorious forces that formed a new great Zimbabwe. So every Zimbabwean has got a role to play, and all these roles are equal, whether someone is in the forefront of executing the revolution from one element, whether they are writing policies, whether they are anchoring the party at the level of think tanking in academia.
Gift, I think we're losing you. I'm not sure whether it's only me, but we've lost you a bit there.
Are you there, Ostallos?
Gift, we've lost you a bit there.
It's like kulo muntu omjamuleli phone. Ngani bayadonselana.
Since he's not in Joburg, we may not think of that.
Maboko, can you try and engage him? WhatsApp, Siziba?
No worries, I'll try and do that. But I think I can hear a sound from his mic.
It's muted. Gift. You can unmute your mic. Kubekele phambili.
Gift, your mic is muted. May you please unmute your mic? We'd lost you for a moment there, but if you can hear us, just unmute your mic.
Do you know, guys, whilst I'm thinking over what he was saying, it's so weird that I was talking to someone today about this whole for us, by us attitude. So I would be keen to know more. Gift, are you still around? I'm keen to know more about the active role that the citizens can play. Within Zimbabwe and also in the diaspora as well. So there's so much that we can unpack on this. Zala, what do you want us to do? Do you advise that he logs off and comes back?
Angazi, have you tried Google WhatsApp to? Oh yes, we can. Thank you so much. Yeah, Prof, what I wanted to suggest was already we are intruding into section 4 of our discussion. I wanted to suggest that you then continue with that. Part 3, I might have to end with part 3. You may continue because the engagement is going towards what we had reserved for part 4 of our discussion. Maybe you can go ahead with those issues.
Okay, so Mr. Gift, the question that I have, you have briefly touched on the CEE and its current configurations as compared to other political parties.
CCC, Prof. CCC.
What did I say?
Mbute CDE or CEE. Some church out there, I don't know what you're talking about now.
When I, you must put your earphones on your ears. I said triple C.
Okay, sharp.
Yeah, it's convenient for me to say triple C. So I was saying that Zimbabweans are used to organized political parties, as it were. And I want to find out from you, how will you sell Triple C in its current form as a broad movement and not a political party to ordinary citizens? The grandmother in Uzumba Maramba Fungo, a grandmother in Filapusi, how are they going to understand Triple C compared to MTC, compared to ZANU PF, compared to ZAPO? Gift.
Thank you very much. I think that, of course, for me as a communicator, and for us in the citizens movement, it's about how then do we use our gift to be able to use metaphors and idioms to be able to explain in the language understood by the oppressed what we mean by the movement. But of it, my brother, is that the movement is broad. As I've said, that the one difference is that political parties are narrow. Political parties are the ones that would host the primary elections. So these are the concrete languages of people that the MTC would hold primary elections with 10 people and declare a candidate, which we as the community don't identify with. So we tell them that now it's you members who must be able, regardless of your membership to the movement, but by the very fact that you are part and parcel of the community. So the Triple C is a mass movement. So a mass movement is able to be able to speak to the social forces in a particular community. So that is your vendors, that is your students, that is your workers, that is your professionals in that particular area, that is your traditional leaders in the form of rural areas, to be able to influence the quality of leadership that we deploy, the quality of policies that we are able to articulate. At the present moment, I've just found network in from the countryside where we are basically harvesting knowledge around policies, because a party manifesto is a one size fit all. It's that we're going to build $100 billion economy in 10 years without articulating how does it change the life of an ordinary person in Binga. So what we are doing right now as a movement is to say, you, the people of Binga, build what you want us to change in this particular community, so that our community manifesto then informs the broad national manifesto and the broad national document. So our new Zimbabwe blueprint is born out of the collective aspiration and concrete issues of ordinary people in different sections of society. So that's how broad the movement is. The church is part of that movement. It is able to speak through its leadership to the party, and the party is able to deliberately provide a platform of conversation with the clergy, so that we hear their concerns, so that we hear how they think Zimbabwean must progress. So we're able to provide again the same platform for the students' union. We're able to provide the same platform from the working class in this country, the unemployed, doctors, nurses. So instead of us producing a document that speaks to the solution, we ought, because part of the problem of political, the answers are wrong. So movements now, both they are embedded in the people. They naturally and organically connect with the issues of building leaders at the elite platform of people who want to make decisions, and more in Zimbabwean context, there will be somewhere in Harare having coffee and making decisions about us in Lupane and Gwanda, as it were. So, but the movement now builds decisions, build its policies, build its program of action from below going to the top. So that's the fundamental difference, and we're able to explain it from one section of society to the other, so that these particular people understand why we've brought in the movement. Because we want to build a movement that is able to accommodate Zimbabweans regardless of their race, irregardless of their tribe, irregardless of their age, irregardless of their situation, irregardless, and of course, of their political persuasion. So it's about building a movement that is for the many and not for the few. I thank you.
Thanks. And related to that, how ready is Triple C for the 2023 election? And what I know it's not wise for me to ask strategies you are going to use to defend your vote, but having failed to sort of phrase it any other way, I would ask what strategies are you going to use to defend your vote, and maybe before that, what electoral issues are you going to agitate that they are addressed at a national level, at a constitutional level, as it were, before you go for elections?
Thank you very much. What I can say is that number one, we made a scientific audit of the last election to be able to understand that this is what happened. This is where the people lost their victory. This is where Zimbabwe had a blocked transition. And these are important lessons for us because we were able in that process clearly define the key issues that blocked Zimbabwe to have a democratic transition. So that is the first step towards defending our vote in 2023 because we were able to learn from the past so that we're able to inform the present and the future. Number two, there is obviously going to be a clear program from the citizens movement, which is going to be communicated at strategic times as we progress towards, especially as we enter into the shadows of the 2023 election. There's going to be clear political communication to different sections of society based on their roles. So what we have done is to define the roles of different sections of society when it comes to defending the vote. So there is no one jacket defend the vote program for Triple C. There is a plethora in A to Z program that is going to be given to people based on their contribution